Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Record of attendance, Linda will have that. Declarations of conflicts of interest. Anyone? Good. Approval of agenda, any additions or deletions? Councillor Landro?
Yeah, I'd like to add just two quick items, Your Worship. Saltscapes, or three short items. UNSM and correctional facility.
You can both talk about it. So I've got 8A, B, and C. We'll do like that. Anything else? Councillor Mooney?
Time permitting, Your Worship,
Somebody else has their light on?
Oh, sorry, that's me.
Oh, okay.
time permitting, either put housing or community services, please, with time permitting, and/or.
Yeah.
And Your Worship, I would like to propose to delete an item. And I'm seeing that I've probably already deleted it. The transit has been removed. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. It's gone. Any more additions or deletions? A motion to approve the agenda with the additions. Moved by Councillor Mooney, second by Councillor Dawes. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Presentation, Grant Thornton. Welcome, Gloria.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. You all have a copy of our presentation in front of you. And so we always like to come and have a little visit with you prior to the actual year end and before the audit time actually starts. So we have an opportunity to explain to you about our audit process. And so if you have any questions or concerns, you can certainly ask me at this time. So this is the report, and I'm going to jump right directly to page 1. So one of the things that we do is we come up in March and we look at what's gone on during the year. We're looking for unusual situations or things that we're going to want to look more closely at year end that are outside of the norm. So we come and we look at the results to date, as well as we look at the activities that have gone on during the year, because all of those will impact how we plan our audit. So you'll see that we just have a little description of what's gone on during the year. Been very active, I guess, from the community perspective. A lot of capital underway as well. And those really don't create any big audit issues, but they are things that we've identified. Probably one of the biggest things will be the ongoing work with the ferry terminal, getting the transportation back on side. Obviously that will be a large cost that will be associated with the town this year, so we'll be looking at that to make sure it's properly recorded. So then also we look at if there have been changes in accounting standards from the prior year, or if there have been changes in the way that the auditing standards have changed from the prior year. So you'll see we refer to Appendix B at the back, which are the upcoming accounting changes. I'm not going to go through them with you. There aren't any really significant ones for 2014 fiscal period end that are going to affect the audit, but there are some coming up in the years thereafter. So they're listed in that, and as we learn more about how they will affect you, we'll make sure that we update you while we're here for the audit and at the end of the audit as well. We'll know more about the impact of the changes to come. On page 2 is the depiction of, obviously, governance, and you're all very aware of that and have spent a lot of time on that yourselves. So this just sets out our relationship and the responsibilities associated with the audit. So you don't actually have an audit committee. The committee of the whole acts as your audit committee for the town. And so really this just shows you the roles and responsibilities of each of the groups. So the audit committee or the committee of the whole is really to set the tone at the top for the town in terms of the way that the finance is operated as well as the interaction with the auditors. And the role of management is really to design a system that accumulates the information throughout the year so that the auditors can come in at the end of the year and do the audit. And these processes also include identifying areas where fraud or accounting mistakes could happen, because obviously that's what we'll be looking for as well. And then it's the role as your auditor for Grant Thornton to be independent and to be objective when we come in to do the audit. We are also a resource to management throughout the year, and we should be available at any time for communication with the Committee of the Whole or any member of management as they so require. Page 3 is quality assurance, independence, and communication. So we do have a quality control process within Grant Thornton to make sure that you get the highest service delivery that we have available. We also have to report to you annually our independence, and so there is a written letter at the very back that will outline our independence. And there aren't anything in that letter that causes us concern. We do give some accounting assistance throughout the year, as well as we help with the preparation of the consolidation. So that would be listed in your letter. And then we're required to communicate with you, who are those charged with governance, at least twice a year, more if you require it from us. One, which is now the pre-audit, and also after the audit's completed. But as I said before, you can contact me at any time if you have any questions or concerns. Page 4 is a depiction of our audit approach. So as I said, we've already been in March, and we update our understanding of how your processes work. There was a change in accounting staff during the year, so we always like to come in and make sure that we understand what each person's doing and how that affects the financial accumulation of information. So we need to update our understanding of how your processes work, and that really drives our audit approach, which is risk-based. On page 5, so other types of communications that we have with you other than this written one will come throughout the audit or at the end if any of these things should happen to occur. Obviously, if we find anything from a legal matter that we think that you should be made aware of, we'll bring it to your attention as we find it. And then at the end, we also report on internal control. So we don't audit for internal control, but we do make recommendations where we find there's areas that there could be improvements in the processes that are already established. And then also we've shown you here our risk assessment. So as we've gone through and updated our understanding, we look at those areas where there is the highest risk associated with the audit, and that's where we focus our attention. So you'll see we've broken it down between tax revenue, water revenue, and operating expenses, and have given you the highlights of the types of audit procedures that we do in each one of those areas. We do audit all the other aspects of your balance sheet and income statement as well, but these are the areas where we focus our attention. As well, when we do the final report, it is consolidated, so it takes into consideration all the entities that you also have control over, and they are brought into the records with the town to present one consolidated financial position. We also do the audits for most of those other organizations as well, so we take that into consideration as we do the plan for the town. Page 6 talks about materiality. So this isn't a concept from an audit perspective where we don't look at every invoice or every check. That wouldn't be possible or feasible. So we do sample-based testing. We use electronic sampling methods. And again, the samples are in the areas where we have the highest risk. And so we do it based on a dollar value. There's a section here on fraud. As auditors, we're not required to audit for fraud. That's not our purpose. But if we find things that cause us to be concerned, we would look further into them, and we would communicate that with you too if we ever found anything. In the years that we've been associated with town, we've never found anything, but of course you would have seen in the past couple of years that it is becoming more prevalent in our communities. So it is an area we have to always be aware of and to be thinking about as we're doing our audit. We have a discussion with management about it. We discuss it from an audit team perspective, and obviously if you ever had any concerns, I would hope that you would bring it to our attention as well. Also from the laws and regulations